The Edible Bean School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by Hensall Co-op.
Hi, I'm Bernard Tobin. Welcome to the Edible Bean School. Today I'm down in Mitchell, Ontario, catching up with Dave Louwagie from Hensall Co-op. Dave, how's it going?
Great. Bern, and you?
I'm pretty good. You are almost, not quite ready for planting. You got some rain here,
Yep.
but you're probably about 5 or 6 weeks away from planting edible beans.
Good 6 weeks away. It freezes around the first part of June. So,
first part of June, but you got to get your planter ready to roll.
That's
and
right.
Hey,
yep.
let's chat about that for a bit. You know, typically guys are looking at parallel linkages, row units, and stuff like that. How does it differ, or what else do you need to think about when it comes to edible beans?
Probably planter setup is not that much different for corn as it is for dry beans. The biggest thing for dry beans is making sure you plant in the right conditions. So nice warm soil at the right time of the year. That probably sets you up for the best success.
Yeah, but first of all, you got to go through your planter.
Yep.
And one of the things you want to do is make sure you got your plates right and stuff like that.
Yep, that's right.
Can you take us for a walk around the planter and sort of give us some tips?
Yeah, you bet. The first stop here is to check your planter height. So when the planter's set in the ground, we want to make sure that this toolbar height is approximately 20 to 22 inches above the ground. What that ensures is that these parallel arms run parallel to the ground and the seed unit is moving evenly through the seed bed. And that also allows for maximum travel up and down. Okay, so the next stop here is the row cleaner units. These are mechanical row cleaner units. They're adjusted manually. Some of the new planters, they have floating row cleaner units that are adjustable from within the cab. Either way, you want to set them up so that we're just tickling the ground. What I mean by that is that they're just removing the trash, moving some stones, and we don't want them to actually throw dirt. Okay, so next on my checklist is the seed discs. This is probably the most important part of the planter right here. These seed discs, what they're designed to do is to make a nice V trench in the soil for the seed to drop into. You don't want a W trench because that's not desirable. So two things with the blades. These blades, brand new, are 15 inches. Once they get wore down to about 14.5 inches, it's time to get rid of them and replace them with new blades. The other thing we want to make sure is that we got the proper blade contact between the two blades. And the way to figure this out is taking 2 sheets of paper, you slide one in from the bottom until it pinches in the blade, you slide one in from the top until it pinches in, and then you measure it. So we got about 2 1/4 inches here, and that's just about perfect. We want about 1.5 inches to 2 inches of blade contact, and when we have that set like that, we have a perfect V trench. All right, we also want to check our gauge wheels. So the purpose of the gauge wheel is it determines your seeding depth. So there's a couple things we want to check on it. When we pull it up in the operating position, we want to make sure that the blade, or that the wheel is slightly rubbing the seed disc here at the bottom. That does two things. It creates a nice firm seed trench wall and also prevents dry dirt from falling into the seed trench before the seed drops in. So next on our checklist is the seed tubes. We want to check them for wear. When a seed tube is wore, especially if it's wore on the side or there's tabs, broken tabs or something like that, that causes seed deflection and will cause issues with seed spacing inside the seed trench. So it's important that we check those for wear. The next thing we want to make sure we look at too is our Keaton seed firmers here. So what the seed firmers, what they do is they push the seed down in the bottom of the seed trench, and it provides good seed to soil contact and also better uniformity within the seed trench. And we're going to end it off here too with the closing wheel system. So what we want to do with these ones here is make sure that the closing wheels are centered over the seed trench. There's a number of different combinations of closing systems. You can run 2 smooth wheels, you can run 2 spikes. This particular planter is set up with a smooth and a spike. But regardless of what closing system you use, you want to make sure that those closing wheels are centered over the trench. Hey, a couple more things to consider. Tire inflation. It's important to make sure that you got the proper tire inflation, especially if you've got a mechanical driven planter. If the tire inflation isn't correct, it's going to affect your population. It's going to affect your fertilizer application rates. The other thing here is the transmission. We want the transmission to run as smoothly as possible. If your transmission is not running smoothly, we'll get vibration, and the vibration will cause uneven seed spacing in the seed trench. It can also probably affect the application rate of the fertilizer. So if the chain is wore out or it's chucking, not running smoothly, time to get rid of that chain and replace it with a new one. Okay, big consideration is the metering system. It's very critical that we set those correctly and check them for wear and stuff like that. So one of the first things we really want to do is make sure this is a electric metering system with a vacuum delivery. Want to make sure that these seals are in good shape, that they're not cracked, they're not wore type of thing. Also want to make sure that we're checking the brushes here as well. If they're frayed or bristles missing, stuff like that, we want to replace those as well. When we're putting in the plates, we want to make sure we're using the correct plate for the correct job here. In this case, we're using a 70-hole plate, and so it's designed for planting Otebo beans. So we want to make sure that we got the right plate for the right job, that we got the proper knockout wheels in here, and also that we got the proper singulator in here as well. In addition to that, we should also consider probably putting in a bit of seed lubricant, such as some talc or graphite, or a combination of both. In this case, we're using an 80-20 talc graphite powder. What that does is to help improve seed flowability in the seed box by eliminating the static, and also the graphite provides a little bit of lubrication for the moving parts in the metering system. All right, so we're in the tractor cab now. What we want to do here is to see if our communications between our tractor and our planter are working correctly. So we're going to go check a couple of things here. So right now we're going to hit setup. We're going to go to our systems. We're going to do our health checks, and we're going to check our Delta Force health checks. So we got a couple of options here. We can go the advanced applied force. That'll lift up each individual row, or we can do applied force where we lift up the rows all at once. So we're going to do the applied force, press continue, and we're going to start the process. So now it's raising all of the units here. And then it's going to start lowering each one individually once it's checked, and it's beginning that process right now. So the last thing we want to do in the cab is run our meters and make sure that they're all working the way they're supposed to. So there's a process again that we can go through on the monitor here to check to see that they're running properly. The final thing is, when you get to the field, is get out of the tractor seat. Check for planting depth, check your population, because remember, you only got one chance to do it right the first time.